are your hosts, Jessica Town and Rob Lange.
You're a jackass.
Embrace the madness.
It is Wednesday, which means only one thing in this world, as everyone is stopping what they're doing and they are tuning in to another episode here of The Madness, brought to you by ProSportsNotes.com and powered by Wildfire Radio. And they are watching on YouTube, and they will be listening to episode 99. 99. That is one away from a magical number of 100, which will be next week when we are previewing the NFC East. But enough about that. As always, I am Rob Lange. Along with me is the wonderfully talented and Twitter argument phenom, as I like to call her, Jessica Town. Jess, how are you?
Tired.
Tired of fighting?
I'm just tired.
Just tired of everything?
I'm tired of stupid people.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we live in a world with a lot of stupid people. Some with very high up titles in this world, but you know, what are you going to do? I'm just putting it out there.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. Not wrong at all.
You're not.
And if you think I'm wrong, you could tune out now.
Bye.
All right, so we have a great show for you today. Eagles, Phillies, but obviously some major NFL news breaking very shockingly on Saturday when Andrew Luck just steps away and retires from the NFL. Leads you to believe, obviously, that injury to the ankle was a little bit more serious than initially, or that was first thought of. So we'll talk about that. We also have to break down the AFC East. Hint, hint, New England wins the division. But we'll break it down a little bit further.
Spoiler alert!
We'll break it down a little bit further than that. But yeah, lots to talk about. You got now a week until the season begins in the NFL, which is when we really hit our stride, as we like to focus on that. We got a lot of fun things coming up for this show, some announcements in the next couple of weeks for the two of us, and some things that are happening. So where do we start, Jess? Do we just start Phillies like always and just get really mad to start our show?
Yeah, let's. Okay.
We're going to start the Phillies. Why did my voice just sound like that?
Your already sucks.
That should never happen. I don't even know. Like, that really put me off.
And we're ending the show there.
Yep. And everyone, have a great week. We'll be back next week. Excuse me. Sorry, I guess I'm just not sleeping well.
Oh, is the baby not sleeping?
No, he's doing well, but like those few nights where I'm asked to get up to put him back to sleep, just interrupted sleep. So hard. So hard.
Oh.
But then my wife, Alyssa, likes to remind me, I've been up for an hour feeding him. And I go, fair enough. Yep. I can't really argue with you on that one. So,
nope.
All right, so the Phillies, when we left last week, they were playing the Red Sox, correct?
Yeah, and you said they were going to lose 7-2 in the second game.
Yes, and they didn't. They won both.
They won both.
They won both games, and we were all up here.
Yep.
And then they lose 2 or 3 to the Marlins in some of the worst fashion you could imagine, being up 7-0 on Friday night, to blow the lead, to regain the lead to be up 9-7, to losing the game 19-11 to the worst team in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Then they win the second game and then lose 3-2 on Sunday in disgraceful fashion. Then we have the Pirates come to town.
Yep.
Win the first game in fashion with the Sean Rodriguez home run, and we'll get to everything Sean Rodriguez on this show, which me and Jess are definitely in agreement based off of our tweets on this whole thing, but we'll see how much in agreement we are. And then last night, I mean, they find new ways to lose every game they lose.
Yep.
And this whole up and down thing is so frustrating. And what it shows you is that the NL wildcard race is a bunch of mediocre teams fighting for the second wildcard because nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. As the Phillies find themselves two games out, trailing the Cubs, and the Cubs just seem to, like, every now and again play well. Look, maybe part of this is on us. Maybe part of this is our fault. Not me and you, I mean.
Yeah, I would say don't put this on me because someone will run with that.
Someone will run with that. Absolutely. Twitter at RunThisTown13. Go after her. Hey, our man. Why can't that screen is too far away?
His name's Chris.
Yeah, our man Chris invited me into a fantasy league. We had a draft last night.
That's awesome.
The best thing about it is Chris sets up the fantasy league and thought somehow allegedly got the first pick. We don't know.
That happened to me last year. And I literally listened to it all year.
However, ironic, he thought the draft didn't start till 6:30 and it started at 6. So he had to auto pick his first 2 or 3 picks. It was awesome.
Jeez.
It was awesome. We're all sitting there like, is Chris not here? He wasn't. And then he popped and he's like, damn, I thought the draft started at 6:30. Yet he still got some pretty good picks. So I think he was happy.
Love that.
Where was I? I don't know. What were we talking about? Phillies?
Yeah.
I really had
ways
something.
to win.
Find new
Or
ways to lose.
Excuse me. Yeah,
Oh,
no, they don't
maybe it was our fault as a fan base.
Yeah.
We really, I think, said, oh, everything's going to come into place. They're going to be great right away. We had too much faith in a pitching staff that just wasn't very good. We didn't take into effect the fact that injuries could really put a damper on things. And, there's some guys on this roster
Rodriguez.
that,
That don't belong in the major leagues.
that are just
Rodriguez.
not good enough. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He did mention that part as well. That he was not of sound mind.
That happens.
That happened to me on Sunday.
I was not of sound mind when Joe got home the other night because Phillies. I was drinking sangria, and then the Phillies started doing stupid things, and I drank more.
Yeah,
sangria.
that was a good. What was that? Was it Twitter or Instagram?
That was Instagram.
That was on the ground.
And there were a couple people that said no, and for a while it was at 100%. I had like 17 votes, and everyone was like, "Yep, you will be." And I was like, "You guys are right." I forget what it ended up being. I think it was I ended up getting 35 votes for yes and 2 for no.
Right.
The yeses have it.
I just am frustrated from the standpoint. I'm not frustrated that they're probably not going to make the playoffs at this point. I've kind of come to grips with that. I've accepted it.
Yeah.
But what frustrates you is they don't lose a regular loss. They lose off dropping a tailor-made double play ball, and I understand that it tailed away, but a first baseman has to make that play.
Yeah.
They lose after getting a 7-0 lead in a game and then lose 19-11.
Right.
And, you look, right, it's human nature to look for someone to blame. And I think what frustrates me is I can't find that person. Yeah, the cop-out answer is, well, Gabe Kapler's the manager, but I don't want to go that route.
It's not all on Gabe.
It's not on Gabe. Do I like some of the things he does? No. Do I like some of his responses, such as after that blown lead, saying, well, Vinny Velasquez he just was finding a lot of bats. No, there was other things that happened there because you don't just blow 7-0 leads. It doesn't happen.
You don't blow 7-0 leads, and you don't score 11 runs and lose. That doesn't happen.
Yes.
You score 11 runs, you better win that baseball game. That's not 19 runs, losing 19-11. No.
Yeah.
No.
Especially to a team as inept as the Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins, whatever the hell they're called. They stink.
They suck. They had lost, 7 straight?
And not
up to
only
then,
that,
6 straight?
I don't know. Maybe how do you lose to a team who has a gorgeous stadium with 30 people in it to watch the game?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Some people did it to the Phillies here over the last couple of years.
Yeah, but no one was losing to the Phillies.
That's what I'm saying. So a couple people did. Some of them did. They didn't go 0-162.
No, it's super frustrating because I feel like the team should be better than they are. And someone brought it up to me this weekend on Sunday. We were doing a fantasy draft right after Phillies lost, and someone said, think about it. The Phillies' record versus the Marlins is why they're not in the playoffs this year right now.
Yes, and someone said to start.
And that's frustrating.
I don't remember who it was. Someone said the person who will go the furthest from the NL East is the team that'll go the furthest in the NL East or in the playoffs or what have you is the team that will beat up on the Marlins the most. Mm-hmm. The Phillies are the opposite of that.
And look at where they're at.
And the fact that they are only 2 games back is why it's mind-blowing, and all they have to do is literally not lose to the Marlins, and they couldn't even do that.
And I tell you what's scary. Listen, I look at the Phillies' young core, and I look at McCutchen coming back, and Bryce, and Reese, and Segura, and all these guys. And I like what I see from the offensive side. I know Reese is in a slump of all slumps, but I still think the kid's a good baseball player. I'm not questioning that at this point.
Yeah, and also, I mean, he's too young to write him off
Right,
at this point. Like,
right.
he's too young to write him off in favor of someone like Sean Rodriguez. You know what I mean? Like, it's people. A lot of the things that I've been dealing with on Twitter over the last couple days are, why am I so mad at Sean Rodriguez but not as mad at Rhys Hoskins? Well, Rhys Hoskins is what, 25 years old? This is his second full year in the league.
Yeah, and he already shows maturity in the media to answer questions the right way.
Yeah, Sean Rodriguez has a history of being rude to the media. This isn't new. He is on this team because he's friends with Gabe Kapler. He's been in the MLB for what? This is his 9th season, 10th season, something like that. He is a below average career player. We don't know what Rhys is at this point. I'm not willing to, it's apples and oranges there. You can't compare those two at this point. So it's not fair. Is Rhys playing horrible baseball? Does he look absolutely lost? Yes. Yeah. It's not one of those things where he walks up and I'm like, well, here's a strikeout. Screw this guy.
No, last night I was like, hey, Rhys is up there. Here we go. We're okay.
Right. And he strikes out and it upsets me. It hurts my heart because I know he feels it. I know he's upset. It's not like, well, I'm here for another 10 years. Like, I've been here for 10 years. I'm just collecting another paycheck. That's the vibe I get from Sean Rodriguez.
What?
It's not the vibe you get from Rhys.
Yeah, and
Rhys is upset. He's disappointed in himself.
Right. And let's get into this, okay? And let's get into this whole conversation because I have a feeling it's good. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we have to talk about it.
With this one situation. Obviously, we're talking about Sean Rodriguez. He hits the walk-off home run after everyone in America is ripping the fact that he's on the team. Earlier in the day,
I literally ripped him at that at-bat. I tweeted ripping him at that
We literally all were.
That game, I tweeted I go into an extreme cursing tirade every time Sean Rodriguez goes up. And that's true. I do that.
I tweeted that Sean Rodriguez has pictures on Gabe Kapler. It's the only reason why he's here.
Fair. All the things are fair.
Right. So he hits the home run. Okay? We're all happy, obviously, because as we've said numerous times, it's always going to be team over player in this town. It's very rare that there's a Brian Dawkins where, like, when the Eagles cut him, I almost turn my back on the Eagles, that sort of thing. So I was thrilled that the home run got hit. When he gets interviewed by Greg Murphy before going into the locker room, he wasn't negative, but if you now, after everything that's happened, you go back and read what he said, just stick with us, stay with us. Things, we're struggling, but we're going to battle through. Please stick. That should have been our first warning where this guy is going to take his 10 seconds on the soapbox and start running his mouth in a way. Now, I never expected him to go where he went. So then we go into the locker room. First, Rhys Hoskins is questioned about his slump, and I thought he answered it perfectly.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? It doesn't matter. We won the game, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. That's not him dodging a question. That's a guy putting team first.
Yeah.
Okay? And I want to get the exact quote from Rodriguez before I quote it, because there's a lot of people that seem to think he went into that fully trying to defend Rhys Hoskins.
No, that's what he said. He claimed he was trying to defend Rhys Hoskins with that.
Right. And
so he tried.
Yeah, but I've talked to people who believe that was actually his thing. And I want to...
No, people actually... So he said it, and people actually believe he meant that.
Right.
So what he said was...
And the question that was asked to him wasn't the booing of Rhys Hoskins. It was, does this feel good? Something along the lines, does this feel good in light of all your struggles and the critique that you've been taking from some of the fan base around here? His response, do you have it there, Jess?
Yeah, the quote right here, it's, oh goodness, it just went away. Please hold. So he was, I just want to see the full. Yeah,
I don't want to misquote it. I want to put the full quote out there.
Here, the quote says, it's not going to be the lengthy one, but it says he was talking about, they asked him, does this feel good in light of, all the negative reactions you've been getting and the things that people say. And he said, he was talking about their booing, saying awful things. And, listen, there are these drunk idiots at games that say awful things they shouldn't.
Right.
There are some dumb little things that people yell. Like when we went to a game, we were sitting in right field and I forget who the Nationals right fielder is, but someone sitting next to us, you screamed at him that he dunks his apples in the toilet before he eats them.
Interesting.
It's just like one of those dumb little things, and he turned around and kind of looked at the guy and laughed. They yell stupid things. There are those awful people that yell, that cross the line, okay? We know that they exist. And he was saying, there are people that say awful things about you. And he said, that seems pretty entitled. You're just making yourself look pretty bad as an individual, as a person, and as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
That was the quote.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so who's looking bad and feeling entitled when you hear stuff like that?
And he said to the reporter, he was like, go ahead, I'm asking you.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No, stop it.
Yeah. I'm not the one booing. I'm not the one screaming. You're also not the one paying money to come watch a game with a team who's supposed to be battling for a playoff spot, making elementary mistakes, okay? Or having 2 hits in a friggin' month, all right? And don't give me the I'm not getting a lot of at-bats crap, okay? You have 2 hits, and you've had plenty of at-bats. You've had more.
1 for 20 in August.
Yeah. You were not supposed to have 20 at-bats in August, Sean. If it wasn't for injuries, you wouldn't. And this is the fight me and you were having with the guy on Twitter yesterday about you could say that he's playing significant time. That does not make you a significant player or a contributor.
And the word contributor, he has contributed nothing.
Nothing to this.
He can play in different spots. Okay.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there are a few people that you could put. You know who else can play in different spots? Scott Kingery.
Right.
You know what he's done? Contributed.
Yes, and I can tell you that no one has said, hey, Sean, keep doing your thing. Don't worry about it. Things will come around.
No one said that
to you. By the way, all of that was said before he ever brings up Rhys Hoskins, which is me telling you he realized I got to get myself out of this somehow.
He realized,
he mentions Rhys's name there. He was not defending Rhys in any way. He tried to do that after the fact. And guess what, Sean? Rhys didn't need your defense because he answered it perfectly without you.
And he's a big boy, okay? He's a grown-up. He can do this himself. Also, it's the problem is it's not like he was trying to worm his way out of something. It's not like he realized he shouldn't have used the word entitled because he used it again. He used it again later when talking about Rhys Hoskins and said, the guy has 60-plus homers in 3 years and you're booing him. Explain that to me. That's entitled fans. I don't know if it's them feeling like they're owed something. There's nobody in here that doesn't want to win. That's what sucks. When we hear that, we've learned to try and take that and use it like we should. But if I sat here and just buried you every single day verbally, is that helping? First of all, we have talked about it on this show several times. The kinds of people, the kinds of athletes that thrive in this city are the ones that realize these fans care more than anything about this team. We have continuously supported this team over the last 7 years when they have been nothing but irrelevant, just trying to not lose triple digits amount of games. They have been trying to avoid losing 100 baseball games.
Yes.
Out of 162. They literally lost 99 one year. So we've talked about the kinds of athletes that are the ones that thrive here. The ones that get booed and think, damn, we're not playing well. Because here's the thing. Us booing means we care. We care because we know we put our faith in you and we know that you are better than what you're putting out on that field. The Eagles got booed in their home opener last year
after winning
the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what that did to the athletes? They went, we're better than this, and we're not playing well. Mm-hmm. They went, oh, my God. And guess what came out and happened in that second half? Dominant victory.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they only won by, but like, they dominated in that second half.
And he says that. He says, well, we try and just take that, and you... That's our point. That's what a fan does. We want to get you to play better.
Would you rather us just go sit there and be like,
Your own teammate, Bryce Harper, has said that numerous times. Yeah, I boo too. That's what you should do.
And then says these fans can be brutal at times, but when you win and when you do things like hit a walk-off grand slam or a walk-off home run, there is no better city to do it in than Philadelphia. And that is the absolute truth. Did you see, and I feel like, and Sam and I were talking about this yesterday, part of the responsibility of athletes, you're getting paid millions of dollars to play a game. I understand that it can be difficult. You're on the road a lot. You're away from your family. There are a lot of things that go into it. It's not all, cupcakes and rainbows. I get that. But part of your responsibility as an athlete is to appreciate the city that you're in and understand the market that you're in. And this shows to me that Sean Rodriguez doesn't care about the market he's in. He doesn't care about the city he's in. He doesn't care about the team he's on. And let's be honest, he wants to call us entitled as fans. He's entitled as a player because the only reason he's on a Major League Baseball team is because he's friends with the manager. Well, that's the only reason he's on the team. It's the only reason he wasn't the one sent down to AAA. It's the only reason he's gotten as many at-bats as he has, and it's the only reason that he plays in the number of spots that he does. Yeah. The only reason he's here is because he is an entitled player. He doesn't deserve the amount of time that he's getting. He doesn't deserve the amount of at-bats that he's getting. What over his career has showed you that he deserves any of this?
Well, and that's kind of where I was going. So believing oneself to be inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment is the definition of entitled. Believing that you shouldn't be booed if you're not playing well, wouldn't that be a special treatment? Wouldn't that be special treatment?
Here, yeah.
So that is anywhere. That's being entitled. It's a hypocritical use of a word that he obviously doesn't understand what it means. No fan can be entitled. And what I mean by that is fans, okay, while you are being paid to play the game, and you deserve it, right? Major league or professional athletes are the best at what they do, and they deserve to be paid. In no way am I saying they don't. But when people pay their money to come and watch you play, it doesn't give them a right to say really rude and crude things. No. But if someone wants to come and it's constant back and forth, and you're not giving them the product that they believe they were paid for, they are screw entitled. They're allowed to boo.
Yeah. If I tweeted this the other day, and this is what I was going back and forth with a lot of people on. You're paying $30 for a ticket, okay? And because the Phillies were expected to be better this year, in the beginning of the season, you could only get the crappy tickets for $30. Mm-hmm. Now they've gone down a little bit because, Phillies are a little bit iffy. But so you say you want to go sit out in left field behind Bryce Harper. That's $30 to $50 right there. Right field. Sorry.
I was going to say, if you're sitting in left field, it's not him.
I don't even know who. It's a different person every
different person every week.
So you're going out there. It's $30 to $50. Okay. You have to pay $18 to $30 for parking, or take an Uber, or you can add gas and tolls if you're coming from further. Okay. If I want to pay to park, it's $18, or I can take an $18 Uber from my apartment, but then I have to take an $18 one back. Mm-hmm. Okay. One beer is $11. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you pay however much for beer or any of the cocktails, because they have cocktail bars in there now, and you can get actual mixed beverages, and they're even more expensive. You get a snack, you get a cheesesteak, whatever. That's another, $25, $30 on food, because a cheesesteak is $12? Mm-hmm. And then you get to watch Sean Rodriguez go 1 for 22 in the month of August. And then you get bashed after it took him 10 minutes to ruin that, by the way. Like, he hits a walk-off, everyone's celebrating, everyone's happy. He should just be like, oh, this is awesome. Instead, he goes in the locker room and bashes the fans and completely ruins it in 10 minutes. That was the other thing. And I didn't know about that. I woke up in the morning and was like, oh my God. Like, I can't believe this happened.
I stayed awake. I stayed awake.
I was 11
and I heard him say, tired. I think to myself instantly, this should be a joyous moment for this team right now, right? You come back, you get a win in extra innings, you get a walk-off hit, you haven't hit the ball, and he uses that time to bash a fan base who cares enough to be involved. Now, listen, someone just tweeted at you earlier today. Oh, no, this was, I guess, last night. Okay?
I lost track.
Yeah. And they say, you get what you paid for, hun. Real fans support them no matter what and don't complain when they lose. No, that's not true.
That's not a real fan.
And that's not, what she's saying is incorrect.
That's crap.
Just because we criticize does not mean we don't support. Because the fact of the matter was, if we weren't supporting, we weren't. You know how much I criticized the Phillies the last couple of years? Probably this many times. Why? Because I didn't care. Call me fair weather. I don't give a damn. But I didn't care enough because, you know what I mean? We are supporting them by doing this. Listen, I love Rhys Hoskins. He's playing terrible. He's playing terrible. That ball was a tough catch last night. You got to make that catch as a first baseman.
Yeah.
And guess what? Rhys, give credit to the guy, because when he's asked about it, he went, I tanked it. My fault. You know, he didn't try and make excuses and try and say, oh, you know, like Sean Rodriguez makes me believe that, oh, well, if you weren't booing, we'd be playing better. Dude, seriously, if you don't want to be here, go tell your buddy Gabe you don't want to be here. Because obviously, He's playing like a guy who knows he's not going to be here next year, so why even try and become, endeared by this fan base, especially when yesterday, right, he gets a hit and he makes the I love you American Sign Language sign, okay? And when he got hit and they cheered him or whatever, he's terrible. You brought this on yourself, Rodriguez. You brought it on yourself.
I don't agree with
the cheering. No, I don't either. But
I agree with booing his ass like crazy when he came out there.
I don't agree with cheering.
I don't agree with cheering. But I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, but I'm not going to agree with him getting the first base and saying terrible, knowing damn well the camera's going to see it.
And he brought it on himself.
That's what I'm saying.
And the problem is, he's acted like this. This isn't like a new thing. This is who he is. This is how he is. When he hit the game-winning RBI a couple months ago, the media went over to try to talk to me. He's like, "Oh, now you want to talk to me? You don't want to talk to me when I did anything else." It's like, come on, dude.
He stinks.
No one wants to talk to anybody when they don't do anything.
Yeah,
they want to talk to you if your name's Bryce Harper, if you do something good.
Yeah, he stinks.
No one gives a crap about anything else.
I'm going to continue to say that. And it's so frustrating that after a walk-off win, the storyline became those Philadelphia fans again, because this jackass has to run his mouth and use words such as entitled that he obviously doesn't really understand the definition of. It boggles my mind.
He had fair points with everything he said. When he used the word entitled and criticized Philadelphia fans as entitled and then used it a second time, that's when it was over. That was the line. Does he have a point with, like, yeah, Philly fans are harsh. I get it. Does he have a point with everything he said other than the entitled comment? Yes, but
I don't think he does because,
But I think we would think differently. We would be annoyed if we were criticized. Yeah, but, like, you and I can sit there and look at it and be like, all right, he's got a point. The entitled thing completely clouds everything else. The entitled thing is why everyone's so mad. It's why I'm so mad.
Well, the entitled thing, bringing up he doesn't have enough at bats, kind of going at the reporter, you tell me, and the fact that he used that time in a happy situation to run his mouth is why no matter what he said, it's irrelevant, because he showed the classlessness of him. And just like Sam Wilson had to deal with his wife, I don't give a damn if his wife was to tweet at us. He showed total lack of class in that moment, a total lack of class. And as Sam said, and I agree, and I know you agree, it was pathetic. It was absolutely 100% pathetic. And he has, in my opinion, I don't even know if I want them to make the playoffs because I don't feel like watching this jackass.
It's unfortunate because
obviously I want them to make the playoffs.
Because just things about this team have made them extremely unlikable. And we talked about this as, we don't know if it's a team that you want to put your arms around. There are people that, I can fit a certain amount of people in my arms right here, and those are the only ones I want in there. And I'll go you, and then that's it. The rest of you can bye.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And and then of course they go and lose last night, and it was just awful. It's so frustrating because even though they got their asses kicked by the Marlins over the weekend, they made up ground. They made up ground in the wild card race, and then they're here, and it's just I'm not going to stop watching the Phillies. I'm not. No. I'm going to keep watching every game.
I've been watching more now than I was early in the season, which is weird because I kind of told myself, no. After that 7-0, blowing that lead, I was so pissed off. I'm done. But I can't. Every night I sit down and the first thing I do is let's get over there.
I can easily say I've missed 15 or less games this year. And when I don't catch the whole game, I watch portions of it on my phone if I'm somewhere. Even when we were in the Outer Banks, the boys were playing video games, and I sat and I watched the Phillies on my phone. That's what I did while they were playing video games. They're they're yelling at each other playing Mario Kart. I'm like, let me just watch the Phillies instead.
Well,
but then I'm yelling at my phone. And
of course.
But, of course, we weren't sitting here analyzing every little thing about the Phillies for the last couple of years, and that's because we were all very aware that there was no reason to.
Yes.
We were all very aware that they weren't really trying that hard to win games. We knew they were bad, but I was still going to a game here and there because it's it's what I grew up doing in the summer. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing to do in Philly in the summer. You go to Phillies games, you hang out, you have a cheesesteak, you get a little ice cream in the helmet, those kinds of things.
That's
so
the thing to do before you have kids. Now,
well, yeah, that's
then you don't go anymore.
Right, but that's what we always used to do. That's what I used to do when I was younger. So
yes.
Joe and I would still go. I mean, you could get tickets for nothing
right
then. Right. But either way, you're still paying. Okay, so we paid literally last year Memorial Day weekend. We paid $4 for a ticket. Right. So we paid $4 each, and then the fees I think were actually more than the ticket. But then you still get there. Beer's still $11. You still got to pay to park. Food's still expensive. And there are people that were responding to me and were like, oh, well, then don't buy beer. Don't buy food. And I'm like, it's 9 innings. You get hungry, bro. Like, I don't have an iron stomach over here that I don't get hungry. I get hungry fast.
Yeah. Well, look, the Philly season really will come down to the next week, all right, because you finish up against the Pirates here on Wednesday. Then you're going to go 3 Mets, right? 3 Braves, 3 Nationals, I think, right? Back to back to back. Is it Mets, Braves, Nationals? A lot's going to be figured out here, I think, in the next week. And then we'll move on from there and see where they're at. By the way, before we end our Phillies talk, I'm sure we need to send out a congratulations to Bryce and Kayla Harper on the birth of their son, Crew.
I love that name.
Kayla, I will be in touch soon to set up play dates for Luca and Crew. We're going to be BFFs, and so we're our sons, and it's going to be awesome.
And that's that.
And that's just what's going to happen. So congrats to Bryce Harper. I have an idea, Jess. I want to see if you're okay with it.
Okay.
I was thinking we do our rants now.
Okay.
Because my rant is going to kind of tie us into a conversation that I'm sure we wanted to have today. And then after that, we go into our AFC East breakdown, followed by our Eagles talk. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. So with that, I want to put Jess on the clock for a little tirade, a little Towns tirade. And I am excited for this one. I kind of figured this was coming prior to things that have happened over the last 24 hours that have just exacerbated the situation. Like that word?
I do. That's a good word.
Yes, good word.
English teacher at work over here.
There you go. I go back to work next week. Got to get prepared.
Joe started this week.
Oh,
waking me up at the ass crack of dawn. It makes me sad.
I am not looking forward to that part of waking up early. But so, Jess, what is on the docket for Towns tirade?
Okay. So I have a giant problem with people on Twitter. And
No. No way.
Well, a bunch of people on Twitter apparently have a problem with me, but they still follow me. I don't understand. Whatever. Here's my issue. I totally understand people who do podcasts or have websites or things like that, and they have their logo as their Twitter picture because their Twitter is the name of the podcast or whatever. It's not necessarily their personal Twitter, but they spend their most time on there to, build their brand, whatever. Totally understand that. I have a giant problem with people who use pictures. Oh, and people who have pictures of their kids or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about people who have pictures of pro athletes or the team's logos as their profile pictures, and they use that to hide behind as they hurl obnoxious insults at other people. I think it's pathetic. You are sad as a human. You need to get a life. And there are some, I just ignored most of them because for some reason, anytime I tweet anything about Donovan Mitchell, everyone that it is involved in the population of the state of Utah finds me. Mm-hmm. So every time I open my Twitter from Saturday until today, I had 20 plus notifications. So I just stopped looking, quite honestly. So I don't even know what half of these things said, but there were some super aggressive insults out there. And one of the most annoying ones was through this Sean Rodriguez thing. That was a big one. I'm trying to find one of the other ones. People who are one like this one was actually pretty funny. I had that Donovan Mitchell shirt on over the weekend, and I had a I took a picture with like it's an app that's it's like a Polaroid app.
Yes.
And so did you see Mike K responded to me today and was like
big fan of the Polaroid.
Yeah, and I was like, so, and because it has like the cute little it's a cute filter, all right? Sue me.
I say nothing. I say nothing. Don't yell at me.
But it has like little speckles on it sometimes. And they're like, wow, she doesn't own a lint roller. I'm like, imagine being stupid enough to not see a filter. Like, not be able to be like, filter. Like, you don't look at that picture and think, oh, that's real. That's straight up picture. Like, are you dumb? Are you dumb? Another one is my absolute favorite. Someone responded to that picture and goes, Ben Simmons didn't even make Team USA because he can't shoot. LOL. Trash.
That, Jess, honestly, like I won't always comment on like your battles. Sometimes I will get involved when I feel the need. But I'm telling you, when I saw that, even before seeing any of the comments following that, I stared at the computer screen and said, this guy is joking, right? Like, that's a joke. Like, he knows that Ben Simmons is Australian. Like, he gets it.
Right.
Oh, my God.
And then someone responded and goes, you do realize he's Australian, right? And this guy goes,
yeah.
So was Hitler.
To which someone said,
that's Austria.
That would be Austrian.
And I felt bad because I was like, I hope that the Fanatic doesn't block me because all these people responding were also responding to them because I tagged them in my tweet. So I was like, I really hope they don't. I was like, I hope that enough of them know me over there where they don't just block me for this aggressiveness that they're getting. So that was one. Another one is someone with a picture of Allen Iverson referring to Reese Hoskins as fat boy, just completely attacking him. And I'm just like, no, like that's too far. He's in a slump, but like that's aggressive and I don't accept that. Yeah. I don't accept that at all, honestly. And then another one today. Now, this wasn't someone hiding behind anything. That just bothers me. Here's another one. So I tweeted. Oh, this is why it's relevant. I tweeted, if you're an adult on Twitter hurling insults at people with a picture of an athlete or a team logo as your profile picture, I can't take you seriously. Someone responded to me and goes, but cleavage screams seriousness. My picture is of me sitting in this studio.
In this chair, in this studio doing a podcast. Talking sports.
Yes. Oh, and I did that one by myself, by the way, because was that when Alyssa had the baby?
I don't know. It's been a really weird summer.
I don't know. There was something that happened that day and Rob couldn't be here. But I did that by myself. I did an hour and 45-minute long podcast talking about sports by myself, and that's a picture of me doing it. And I think it's a really good picture.
Yeah,
of me,
and which, by the way, to the jackass on Twitter, if you've ever attempted, because before Jess, that's what I was doing, it's not easy to talk by yourself for a half hour, let alone 75 to 90 to 105 minutes. So,
yeah.
Just wanted to come to your bat there.
Additionally, so there were a lot of people that, came to my defense, which was very nice. Also, if that's all you can focus on, you have some bigger problems that need to be addressed because that's sexual harassment. And also, my favorite part is when people get mad that I call them out and I blow up their spot on Twitter and I quote their tweet instead of just responding to it, and then people start going after them. Then they try to slide into my DMs and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I'm going to start screenshotting those and posting those too because I don't have patience for it anymore. I don't. The one who hunned me last night, the one whose tweet you read, right in my DMs after. Sorry, I didn't mean to say anything disrespectful. Okay. Yeah. Don't say it in the first place.
Yeah, and see.
Think before you hide behind a picture of Scott Kingery.
And the thing is this, right? If you didn't mean to say anything disrespectful, then there's a way to word what you said.
And not be disrespectful.
But when you call someone hunt, like I'm a big person. I believe anyone that says buddy or chief or pal.
We've talked about that.
When you do that, you're doing that to try and show some sort of dominance to that person. And not only that, the things you said. We support them. What did we expect them to win every game? Support them. You stop.
And additionally, That's what Sean Rodriguez's wife was doing on Twitter.
Well,
She was doing that. She was like doing that and putting like little kissy face emojis at the end. It's like, you know what you're doing.
And
here.
listen, and
you're
Jess,
just
and
trying to be petty and rude.
I've said this to you, and I know that we've maybe disagreed to a certain extent. Sean Rodriguez should be pissed off that even happened, because Twitter is a public. Twitter is a public forum. Okay.
Right.
So and if your significant other plays professional sports, that means whether you like it or not, his life is public in the sense that people are going to criticize him. And you may not always like what you hear. And yeah, some people can go over the line. I'm not saying that Sam went over, but some people can.
Yeah.
You cannot respond, especially if it's not even you, it's your significant other. Look.
And I also, part of it is, you and I don't know how hard that can be.
Yeah,
when especially
absolutely.
Because here's the thing. So we talked about it in the sense of Ayesha Curry before, right? We've talked.
Right.
That's who we've talked about. From her sense, like her husband's like the best to do it,
right?
You know, I can't imagine how hard this must be, because like if it's Kayla Harper, it's like okay. Yeah. Like, she probably doesn't get this a lot, or someone like Mike Trout's wife, like they might not have to deal with this kind of thing a lot. I can sympathize with Giselle Rodriguez a little bit, because I think like she has to get to a breaking point, right?
Well, my whole thing
is he brought it on.
Yeah, my whole thing is this though. How many people are talking about Sean Rodriguez? Like, to me, he's irrelevant. He's irrelevant. He is an irrelevant player on this team. I don't think, the only time I think of Sean Rodriguez is when he comes up to bat and I kind of give the, oh, Jesus, here we go. That's the only time I think of Sean Rodriguez. When I want to talk about the Phillies, he's not. Bottom line is, he got his 15 minutes of fame out of this. People are talking about Sean Rodriguez. So how big of a deal is it? How big of a deal is it? And the fact is, you're a professional athlete, which means whether you like it or not, whether it's fair or unfair, you are open season for criticism. It's just the nature of the beast. And you have to deal with it. And the guys that make it and the guys that have successful careers are the guys that understand it. Bryce Harper gets it.
Right.
Rhys Hoskins gets it. And I'm sure there's a lot of lesser known guys that get it. Okay? Joe Blanton got it. He understood that, like, people forgot he was on the World Series team when they had the 4 aces come in. You didn't see Joe Blanton trying to say, oh, now you guys want to talk to me? He never did that. So don't like cry, you know, oh, poor me, after you say some stupid ass stuff, and don't expect people to say something back to you or to call you pathetic. Guess what? It was pathetic to say that, especially in that time. So, you know, that's my 2 cents on it. I'm feisty today.
Yeah, that's why I the frustrations are mounting is the title of our episode, because we had a lot of things that we had to address, and just this situation just really rubbed me the wrong way, especially from a team that's like teetering on the precipice of like love and hate with this fan base right now, and I get it. The injuries have been freaking brutal. We've had a revolving door at leadoff after Andrew McCutchen got hurt. Our entire bullpen is on the IL. The starting pitching is abysmal. And, I mean, even one of our starting pitchers is on the IL now. And, you know, it's just a shame, because the expectations. Now, this is partially our fault as fans, but you looked at this lineup and you thought, you know, there should be days when Nola's playing, when Arrieta's playing, maybe 1 or 2 here, a few sprinkled in there from Eflin or Pivetta or Velasquez, because they were the starting 5, you know, pitchers when the season started. You know, you looked at it and thought, okay, on days that Nola and Arrieta play, the pitching should be able to get you through that game.
Mm-hmm.
On the days that some of the other pitchers are playing or anybody's not pitching well, you should have enough talent in this lineup for these bats to get you out of it. It's and granted, you know, we talked about this with the Sixers. It's the same exact thing in baseball. There are going to be times where your team's going to get blown out. There are going to be times when your team's going to be doing the blowing out. It's going to happen. It's because it's a long season, right? These things happen. You can't. But when you are in the middle of a playoff race in the last week of August, you cannot lose 19-11 to the Miami Marlins. And it's just so frustrating. And then this stuff happens, and it's just like, do you even care?
I love how your rant went from just about social media. Let's get back to the Phillies and rant about that.
Yeah, I don't even know how we got here.
I don't know.
I hate people on social media. Yeah. I don't like blocking people because I think that's soft, but I've started muting people so their names don't pop up in my mentions anymore.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I just don't like seeing your face.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But I'm not going to block you because I want my face to continuously keep coming up on your timeline.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting jealous. Your face is always showing up. Nobody ever responds to me no matter how mean I get. Jess, can I just start tagging you, and then you could say something, and this way we can all be writing stuff? Because look, I say some mean things. No one pays attention to me. I'm just here. I'm sad, Jess. Very sad. Okay, my rant, Rob's rant coming up, and this will kind of get us into our NFL talk. Now, Jess, I ask,
Yeah.
that you wait until I have said all points before attacking me on the one point that I believe we disagree with.
Okay, I'm just going to turn my mic.
All right. So, obviously, unless you were under a rock, you noticed Andrew Luck retired from the NFL. It broke Saturday night, very unfortunately during a Colts game. And in the world of technology, the whole stadium probably found out in a few minutes. And there's a couple different angles I want to talk about with this situation and rant about. One is going to be from the fan standpoint in the stadium at that very moment. One is going to be how I feel about Andrew Luck and what he's decided to do. And one is going to be about, in my opinion, one of the biggest jackasses talking sports, Doug Gottlieb, and a certain tweet of his after the retirement. Number one, the fan base. I know that a lot of people have criticized the Colts fan base for many things that they've done since the announcement. Where I stand with everybody in saying the idea of asking for refunds for tickets and all that is just stupid and dumb, I will say this. I find it very hard for me as a fan of a different team to come down on them for their knee-jerk reaction in the moment of hearing that the quarterback that was going to lead them to a season in which many of them had Super Bowl aspirations, I find it hard to come down on them for booing in that moment. I truly do. Looking back, I'm sure some of them are probably like, maybe, but I think of it from this standpoint, and this goes to what we were talking about earlier, Jess, with the fans of Philadelphia. If we were at a game and we see a tweet that Carson Wentz has retired from the NFL 2 weeks before the season, in which there's a season like this year where we think the team could be really good, I will guarantee you that there will be a plethora of fans in that fan base that boo him as he leaves the field. So people killing the Colts fans for booing, I think, is too much, because I think as human beings, the knee-jerk reaction in a situation like that, everything coming together, all these emotions running through your mind, and it's prior to the press conference and hearing him speak on it, I think that's going to happen. So I'm not going to kill them for that. Now, anybody that burned jerseys or anybody that tried to ask for refunds on their tickets, grow the hell up. That's where you become a soft-ass group. Not all the fans, but some of them. Okay? So that's my stance on the fans. I feel as though we got to give them a little bit of leeway for the booing in that moment in a knee-jerk reaction. Now, as for Andrew Luck, there's always a bunch of guys in a league that I always like to root for who don't play for the Eagles. Andrew Luck was one of those guys. He just seemed like a really nice guy. He had unbelievable talent. I loved seeing him come back last year under Frank Reich and do well. And to me, I just feel so bad for the kid that at 29 years old, he has to walk away from the game he loves because of health reasons. And in no way, shape, or form do I blame him. When you think about it, look, I have kids, okay? I don't know if Andrew Luck does at this point, but you could put your mic back on.
I think he's a new dad.
He's a new dad.
I think. Let me look that up. I feel like I saw that somewhere, but
here's a kid who might be a new dad, or is going to be, hopes to be a father at some point, who has just it's been finish the season, rehab, not play, rehab, play, rehab, play. And it has taken an amazing toll on him, not just physically, but I'm sure mentally. And I'm sure what he looks at, he says, do I want to be my body crippled and dead to the world as I get older when I can play with my kids or just be able to do normal things in life? I in no way fault him for that. If he has just had it mentally and physically he just doesn't feel he can take it, I have zero issue with him walking away. I feel terrible for him. And I do feel bad for the Colts organization because they put a lot on him. I do think they did the right thing by not trying to recoup money from him. I think that was actually a very admirable thing for them to do. But I can't blame this guy for doing this. I mean, geez, he had the major neck issue or the shoulder issue, and now it's a calf and ankle. And, I can't blame the guy. I cannot blame him.
And let's not forget he lacerated a kidney, which is an injury that people literally only get from absurdly traumatic car accidents, to the point where he was peeing blood. Right. He's had some very aggressive injuries that, and I don't know if you saw the clip of Gronk from yesterday. Did you see that?
Yes.
So
yes.
It's just, you don't realize how much things like that can weigh on a person. Like, think about you're doing something you love, and there's something that's constantly preventing you from doing that, and it's so much work to get back to it, and it's taxing on your body, and it strips you of your natural joy of why you fell in love with it in the first place, and you can't carry on like that. If you're like, a backup lineman and you don't love the game anymore, you can hang around for a couple more seasons and collect a paycheck standing on the sidelines. If you're the quarterback of a team, like, he's more susceptible to getting hurt if he is not giving it his all, pouring his heart into it every play. And I disagree with you in the sense of it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what fan base it is. My own, someone else's, I would be ripping them the same way, because I don't think booing is the right thing to do in that situation, because you have absolutely no idea what's going through his head. Mm-hmm. So I did rip Colts fans, and I will continue to rip Colts fans, but I would have ripped any fan of any team, including if it was my own. If it was my own, I think I would have just cried. I definitely would have cried. I cried when Carson Wentz tore his ACL. I did. I'm not going to lie. I cried then, and it was heartbreaking. But it's one of those things that you have to be able to, I don't care if it's in the moment, a snap reaction, you have to be able to realize that these guys are human too. You have to be able to realize that they are people. They are human beings with families. They have struggles. Just because they're making millions of dollars doesn't mean they're going through some you-know-what in their head. That's why, for example, it's now a requirement for NBA teams to have a mental health specialist on their medical staff. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing to have. That's something that all sports teams should adopt, because we have no idea what kinds of things go through their head while they're going through all of this. And, it's something that Carson Wentz has talked about, being in just not a good place and doing everything. Now, he's still young. He still has a whole, career ahead of him. We hope he's able to stay in the right mindset if something like this were to happen again, where this isn't what happens to him. But right. Andrew Luck has been through some awful stuff, and it's because they didn't prioritize protecting him for all those years.
Absolutely.
They didn't make that a priority.
I agree 100% there.
Absolutely agreed. He is one of those people that you just root for. He's another player on a different team that you just root for, and it's such a shame to watch it. And it broke my heart, and I was upset with Colts fans, and I ripped them on Twitter because he is one of those people. He's one of those people that you just love, and everyone wants to root for. And it's like,
yeah, and I get that. I think here's the deal.
If it was like Antonio Brown, like, I'm retiring, people would be like, dude, come on. But it's because he's a loudmouth. Right. It's because he makes problems, and it's because he does what he does. Now, because Andrew Luck is the way that he has earned the right to be able to, one, not be booed for that, and explain himself.
But the problem was this, right? All we've been told by the Colts was, yeah, Andrew Luck has this ankle injury, but all signs are pointing to him starting week 1. So, in a fan's mentality, if you're hearing that, and then out of nowhere, I mean, think about it. None of us are fans of the team. When we got that, when we saw that pop up on Twitter, all of us went, "This is a joke."
My jaw hit the floor.
Mine was someone hacked Shefty. Like, honestly, I did not believe that this was true. Like, I looked for the check mark 15 times next to Schefter's name. And part of it was because I looked at this injury that he had this year, and it seemed like it was a non-factor, and then bam, he's out. I get it. And once it was over, I think a lot of them probably had remorse for it. All I mean is, I'm not saying whether you're right or wrong. All I mean is I can't kill them for that moment. I just can't. I just can't kill, because I'm not saying that I would have been booing. I would have probably been devastated, but look, I'm willing to bet if you polled any of the fans that booed that weren't drunk and asked them after they watched the press conference, do they regret it? I'm willing to bet that many say yes. And that's why in that moment, I can't kill you for it. Okay? I just can't. But the one other thing I wanted to bring up just about this, and then we could keep talking about it if you like.
Yeah, sure.
Is I have said for years that Doug Gottlieb is the biggest turd, in sports analysts. He has been for years. He talks like a jackass. He doesn't know what he's saying. He's the same guy who said that Steph Curry had no upside. He's the same guy who got expelled from Notre Dame for stealing credit cards and apparently saying because working was too hard. Well, Doug decided after this happened to say retiring because of rehabbing is too hard is the most millennial thing ever. Now, he got destroyed by it. By many people, most notably Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman was great. Torrey Smith
absolutely
was good
killed
too.
him. Yes. I mean, Troy Aikman absolutely murdered him.
I've never supported Troy Aikman so much in my life.
No. Then he goes on his radio show and says, oh, no, that's, it got taken out of context and this and that. However, then he tweeted out, and I'm trying to pull this tweet up because it kind of, backed up the whole being sarcastic thing. I like Andrew Luck a lot. Have defended him and his successes to others. But what does it say about Alex Smith trying to come back from a leg injury where he nearly lost a limb? Different mentality. Well, it doesn't have to say anything to Alex Smith. It's two different players. And it's not a matter of what the injury is. Andrew Luck has dealt with major injury after what appears to be another major injury. So, Doug Gottlieb, you played a little college basketball and you had some nice assist records at wherever the hell it is you went. You don't know what's tough. You suck at your job, and it's a disgrace that you get paid for it, and it's a disgrace that you haven't been suspended by Fox Sports for being the jackass that you are with these tweets. But when I think scumbag, you're it, Doug. And it's an absolute sham that he's still allowed to be on air right now after tweeting all this stuff out after the fact and trying to say, oh, Andrew Luck is a millennial for what he's doing. Screw you and your half-ass career of basketball.
I have nothing to add. I think you really got it all.
It's just, I hate little weasels like him. Look, people can call me a hater all I want because I love to be in sports media and I would love to do this and get paid for it. But there are some guys, I firmly believe the two of us are better than Doug Gottlieb. And I firmly believe there's a lot of people like that. And it just pisses me off that a guy like this is going to call Andrew Luck basically a millennial and a weak-willed guy when he has obviously some mental health things going on. It just pisses me the hell off. And it's just like people just kind of brush off their show. Oh, he's attacking mental health. Who cares? Maybe we need to start looking at mental health a little bit more seriously. Yeah. Especially in the sports world. And Doug Gottlieb should be getting suspended for that crap. And I don't think he will.
Yeah, and I really think it's the way that the world is turning, paying attention to mental health a little bit. Like, I had a doctor's appointment 2 weeks ago, and it was the first time, they say, do you have a history of diabetes? But no. Do you have a history of this? No. History of this? This was the first time in my 24 years that I've ever been to any sort of doctor, and they said, "What about mental health? Do you have any mental health things that happen in your family? Does anybody in your family have depression or anxiety or anything like that?" Like, I have never been asked that, and I noticed it, and I was like, that's really great that they are that's starting to become the norm, because you could just tell. I mean, you could tell in his press conference how upset he was. He doesn't want to do this.
No.
But he
knows it's what's best for his
best
future.
for him, and he has every right to do that, and
I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah.
I hope he can find a way in the staying around football if he wants to, whether it be coaching or analyze, whatever it might be. I wish Andrew Luck the best of luck. No pun intended.
Nice.
All right. So I guess that means it's time for the AFC East breakdown.
It does.
Patriots win the end. No, we won't do that. We won't do that to you. Not gonna
We'll
be
still
that guy.
talk about it. It's like kind of pointless, but we'll still do it.
Yeah, we'll still do it, and I'll get my music going here. I don't want an ad. Don't just like.
See,
pump me
why
up
don't
with
you
an
have
ad.
it ready?
I had it ready. An ad came out of nowhere. It was literally on.
Yeah.
10 seconds into playing, it just plays an ad. Stupid. So AFC East, give you a little reminder of what occurred last year. Patriots won at 11-5, and then nobody else was over 500 as the Dolphins came in. How the Dolphins won 7 games, I'll never know.
One of those was against the Patriots.
Dolphins were 7-9, Bills 6-10, Jets 4-12. So
Yikes.
here we go.
Yikes.
Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills first, because the fact is, Jess, on what you sent me, they were the first team.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Buffalo adds. Let's just talk about their adds and losses and all that. Additions: Frank Gore, T.J. Yeldon, Cole Beasley, John Brown, Tyler Croft, I can't pronounce that. Nasecki, Spencer Long, Mitch Morse, Kevin Johnson. They lose Charles Clay, John Miller, and Kyle Williams. They draft Devin Singletary, guard Cody Ford, and defensive tackle Ed Oliver. Had a very solid draft, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's a good draft.
But I need to ask this question about make any sense to me what they're doing at the running back position right now.
Who knows? I mean, we're going to have 4 or 5 running
but
backs.
we're not going to have 4. Like, Frank Gore and LaShawn McCoy are both in the same stage of their career, which is at the end.
Sure.
T.J. Yeldon was touted as, he should be able to get a starting gig somewhere. He's now 4th on their depth chart. And Devin Singletary
is no joke. We wanted him
joke.
here.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do. Now, listen, I think the Bulls
Do you think they try to trade one of them instead?
I think it's possible. I think, you might see that.
Like, I'm trying to think, are there...
Well,
I was just going to say Houston needs a running back. I was literally just about to say, are there any running backs that have gone down in preseason?
But if I'm Houston, I mean, look.
You don't want one of that.
Yeah, it just doesn't get me super, super excited. Listen, I actually think Buffalo will be improved from their 6-10 record last year. Okay? I like some of their signings. They're small, but I think like John Brown and Cole Beasley are good. John Brown can stretch the field. Cole Beasley's a good possession receiver, not a very good rapper. They have the young kid, Zay Jones.
I like how you just toss that in there.
Yeah, just throw that in there. They've tried to upgrade that offensive line a little bit. Why am I drawing a blank on my boy's name out there? Sean McDermott.
There you go.
His defenses have always been top 10 type defenses. They were even pretty good last year. So I expect them to rise. I really do. It's really how much of a rise is going to depend on the quarterback, right? The second-year kid, is he Allen? Yeah, he's Josh Allen. Does he take a next step? Does he kind of stay where he is? We just don't know. I look at the Buffalo Bills as a team where I think their defense is going to be good. Like, it's a defense that I look at in fantasy. Like, I think that they're going to be that good of a defense with the guys that they have there. Starlo Tulele will be a defensive tackle. Jordan Phillips. You got Jerry Hughes still out there. Tremaine Edwards and Lorenzo Alexander, your linebackers. They have Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. Did Tre'Davious White get hurt? Or is he okay?
I have no idea.
I think he's okay. So you have a good young secondary as well. I see this team winning 9 games this year. I know that sounds crazy.
That sounds crazy.
But it's 3 more than what they won last year, and I think that they are better equipped to do that. I think the Dolphins are worse. I think the Jets are going to struggle. And I don't think the Bills' schedule outside the Patriots is going to be overly difficult, although I haven't looked at it. I'm going to give them 9 wins, 9-7.
Looking at their schedule, 9 wins might not be that far off.
Okay. Well, I'm a genius. What can I tell you?
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard it.
I didn't say that. However, they've won all 3 of their preseason games so far, so you know what that usually translates to. The Browns went 4-0 in preseason, like from 2000.
What is it? The Ravens haven't lost a preseason game in like 17 games?
No, it was the. Who was
it? Was the Ravens. The Ravens have this unbelievable streak.
No, it's the Lions.
Well, but no, the Ravens are in the midst of a streak right now.
But the Lions posted something like, "Oh, now we're like 24-0 in preseason last 24 games," and it's like, okay, but like your regular season's been absolute garbage. I don't understand why we're having.
The Ravens have a 16-game preseason winning streak, which means that's the span of almost 4 years.
Awesome, and what do they have to show for that?
Nothing.
Otherwise? So, but that's my point. So. I mean, okay, so they play the Jets twice, Patriots twice, and then they play the Dolphins twice. They also play the Giants. They play the Bengals. They play the Titans. They play the Redskins. They play us. Browns, Cowboys, Broncos, Ravens, Steelers. I don't think that's... I mean, I'm going to go 8-8. I'm not going to give them 9. I think giving them a winning record is aggressive.
I'm an aggressive type of guy.
Okay, fair enough.
So you just deal with it. All right, we move on to the Miami Dolphins. New head coach Brian Flores. They trade for Josh Rosen. They bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick. Tight end Dwayne Allen. Defensive tackle Akeem Spence. And quarterback Eric Rowe. Yeah, you lost the Super Bowl to the Eagles.
He's garbage, too.
They lose Tannehill, which is probably an addition. They lose Frank Gore, Danny Amendola, Juwan James, Josh Sitton, Cameron Wake. They draft Michael Dieter, and Christian Wilkins. Look, there's not much to talk. Miami, yes, Ryan Fitzpatrick is a nice, serviceable guy. Josh Rosen, they hope, is the quarterback of their future. This is not the year where they turn things around and start winning games. This is the year that they struggle and probably win 4 or 5 games if they're lucky and get a number 1 overall draft pick and really start the rebuild at that point. I will give them 5 wins because somehow Ryan Fitzpatrick will have these 2 games where he looks like an all-pro NFL quarterback to get them 2 of those wins, and then they'll sneak out a couple other ones. As long as they don't win December 1st, I don't give a damn. What did I say, 5 wins? 5 wins. 5 and 11.
Yeah, I think they beat the Bengals. They beat the Jets once. They beat the Patriots once. They beat the Redskins. I think 5 is... 5 and 11. Yeah, I mean, you're losing. So you get a good young. I mean, Christian Wilkins is going to be somebody he's going to be a player in this league. Mm-hmm. But you lose an accomplished guy like Cameron Wake. And, Christian Wilkins, yeah, he'll be a nice young player for you, but he's not going to be able to just kind of. Obviously, they play different positions, but he's not going to be able to fill in that force on that defensive line. I don't know. I think Rosen's got potential, but they don't really have very many high-caliber weapons.
Their defense isn't good.
It's not. I mean, what? Is Kiko Alonso still down there?
I don't know.
Any team with Kiko Alonso on it isn't going to win.
Kiko is still there, playing the will linebacker. But listen, I look at this team as you're going to get beat twice by the Patriots. The Bills could.
I don't know. We thought they were going to get beat. They won last year.
Yeah, well, they won.
The Patriots always struggle when they play in Miami. I know,
but remember how they won last year.
So
the Bills probably could beat them twice. Maybe they might go 1-5, maybe 0-6 in their division. I just don't see it.
The Patriots play down their week 2, and the Patriots don't start off well.
This is true. Maybe they get 1 win there. Maybe that's their 1 win, and they go 1-5. There's not much about Miami that I like. I am intrigued when Josh Rosen starts playing, how he does. Because, like I said, I never feel like he got a fair shot in Arizona.
Yeah.
A lot of things went wrong in Arizona.
But I think they had better weapons in Arizona. But you're right. I think he was kind of always on the outs there.
At least here, he knows he is who they want to be their quarterback of the future. So even if it's not this year and it's just as time goes on, Miami is, going to look to him to kind of right the ship over time.
Yeah.
All right, we will now talk about the New York Jets. They bring in bug-eyed Adam Gase as their head coach.
Yo, he's frightening.
He's a freaky guy. He freaks me the
Remember
hell
when
out.
we all wanted him as the head coach of the Eagles?
Oh, my God.
I am forever grateful to Jeffrey Lurie for hiring Doug Peterson. I am for you know what? For reasons that have nothing to do with the Super Bowl, I am forever grateful.
Yeah.
To Jeffrey Lurie.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep talking like that. The hell is wrong with me? Okay.
Oh, goodness.
All right, so I look at, listen, the Jets had, on paper, a tremendous offseason. Now, we all know what tremendous offseason on paper gets you. Nada. They have to actually put it together on the field. They bring in Trevor Siemian as a backup, I would assume. Please.
We hope, for your sake.
For your sake. Running back, obviously, they bring in Le'Veon Bell, the prized possession. They bring in a nice possession receiver in Jamison Crowder. They bring in the big guard who came from Oakland in Osemele. You want to try? I forget.
Nope.
Okay.
This is your role.
They
right
bring
here.
inside linebacker from the Ravens, C.J. Mosley, who I love. They bring in a new kicker. They lose Isaiah Crowell, but when you're talking about bringing Le'Veon Bell, it doesn't really matter as much. Lose two guards in James Carpenter and Spencer Long, and then lose Buster Skrine and their kicker. They draft Quinnen Williams. They draft Ja'Kai Polite. I can't read. I can't see.
You're an English teacher.
I can't see. It's not that. I can't see. My eyes are bad. I need new glasses. This is going to be on where is Sam Darnold in year 2? Is Sam Darnold slightly better? Or is Sam Darnold with the addition of Le'Veon Bell with, I think, a major year from Robbie Anderson and having a guy like Jamison Crowder, does he make enough of a difference for them? I'll put it to you this way. I think he makes enough of a difference to get them out of the cellar of this division.
Yeah.
I could see them winning 9, but I don't like having two teams winning the same amount of games. I'm going to give them an 8-win season. I'm going to say that the Jets definitely are moving in the right direction. I'm curious to see how good Le'Veon Bell is after a year off. I mean, the guy's in shape. He's a freak athlete, all that stuff. I'm very curious to see how he does after a year off as far as, carrying the load back there and having to be the safety for a kid like Sam Darnold. But I think it's good enough to get them 8 wins this year. So I'll go 8-8.
I think it gives them 9 because they play the Steelers in Week 16, and I think
that
at
could be
home
for week number 9.
At home, and I just think that I think Le'Veon gives you, how many wins did you say the Jets had last year?
4.
They only won 4 games last year.
4-12 last year.
Yikes.
I mean, last year was 18-19. Yeah.
Listen, I think Le'Veon helps you win 3 games on his own. I think he gives you a 3-win bump, and I think Sam Darnold has a lot of potential, and I think they did a little bit to give him some help on from the offensive line standpoint. They tried to move some things around, and they're one of their big. I mean, to have Le'Veon Bell, one of their biggest things is they're going to need a strong offensive line. They're going to need that offensive line to be able to do something. Granted, Le'Veon is one of the most patient running backs you'll ever see. It's amazing to watch. But I think just the kind of addition to that, and they have a pretty, easy schedule. They play the AFC East and the NFC East play each other this year. Mm-hmm. So they get to face the Redskins. They get to face the Giants. They get to, the Cowboys, but the Cowboys have a relatively good defense. But, you never know. They actually face the Eagles and Cowboys in back-to-back weeks.
Who's first?
Us. We go first.
Okay.
But they play us here.
Yeah, I know.
And they play,
one of my
the Cowboys play up there.
Okay.
Then, obviously, they play the Dolphins twice. They're bad. Mm-hmm. Who knows what the hell the Raiders are going to be, especially in November.
Yeah.
The Bengals are going to be terrible. They play them. And they play the Steelers. I think, they have a pretty good shot of going 3-3 in the division, honestly. Maybe 4-2. And you add in the terrible teams from the NFC East they play, and maybe that revenge game against the Steelers, you get a pretty good chance of 9 wins there. So I'm going to go 9-7. They're going to be my 9-7.
They're your 9-17.
Yeah.
And with that, it brings us to the defending Super Bowl champion, the New England Patriots. Key additions, Demaryius Thomas, who is he's starting to play again. They bring in 2 tight ends to replace the retirement of Rob Gronkowski and Dwayne Allen and Austin Seferian-Jenkins and Benjamin Watson. They also bring in Michael Bennett from the Eagles, and Jamie Collins comes back. They lose Trent Brown, Adrian Claiborne, Trey Flowers, Malcolm Brown, Eric Rowe, Cordarrelle Patterson, Chris Hogan. But the fact is, they're the Patriots. The fact is, they have Tom Brady. And the one name not mentioned there is Josh Gordon, who has been reinstated, who's going to play, who could be a favorite for Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. They also drafted a couple kids, one being N'Keal Henry, the wide receiver, a little banged up, but who they seem to love out there. Listen, we could talk X's and O's. We could talk this guy. We could talk that guy. Maybe their defense isn't great this year. Maybe they are. The fact is, Belichick's still there. Brady's still there. 12 wins and the division to the Patriots.
What record did you just say?
12-4.
I want to make sure I got it. Yeah, I have them at 11-5 because I always think there's going to be, they start off poorly. There's going to be a game or two in there that they lose and people go, oh, this is the demise. And it's not.
Remember when we thought we ended the dynasty? That was fun.
Yeah, it's fine, but we were still one to take it down as strongly
Super Bowl 52!
as we did. I will have that tattoo on me forever, and I can't wait to put my Super Bowl 54 tattoo on me in March. Yeah, I'll get around. I got this one in June. I'll get around to getting the second one sooner after the Super Bowl. Sooner after their next one. But anyway, yeah, I mean, they've got some interesting competitive games in here. They play the Chiefs again that in December. That'll be a really good matchup. I mean, you hope that the Texans matchup will be a good one. It depends on what happens with Clowney, I think. And obviously if they get a running back, because that's a Sunday night game that they have scheduled, you hope that that's a good one. I mean, the Eagles is a 4:25 game. That's going to be a good matchup. They play the Steelers week 1. That's the Sunday night game. That'll be a good matchup. So they've got a couple really good, interesting matchups on there that always, every time these teams play each other, it is a good, fun game. They even play the Ravens in Baltimore. That's another night game. That could be a really fun one with that Ravens defense. So they have some on here that obviously, okay, play the Jets twice, they play the Dolphins twice, they play the Bills twice, they play the Giants, they play the Redskins. Okay. And they play the Bengals. But then you have a couple in there that, I still think the Patriots could probably win, but they also have but they're going to be a little bit more competitive matchups. So there is a chance that they are going to be they could end up being a loss for them. You don't know. Sometimes things just happen. You never know what's going to happen in the NFL. We've all seen it. We've all seen it done. You've seen people win games unconventionally. You've seen people win and lose games that you don't expect them to win or lose. It happens. You see it, whatever. It's happened to the Eagles. It can happen to anybody. So, and yeah, even the Patriots, it can happen to. You think that the way that the Super Bowl went down, the Patriots don't lose that game with Tom Brady with the ball with under 2 minutes left. You don't think that happens, but it did. So I think that's a really interesting matchup. I think it'll be really interesting to see because last year I thought it was really interesting with the Patriots that they relied a lot more heavily on the run than they usually do. Usually they've never been a run heavy base team unless they have a guy who's the size of a house like LeGarrette Blount. You're on the 1 yard line the year he had 18 touchdowns and they won the Super Bowl. But I just think that last year with Sony Michel, with James White, they relied so much more heavily on the run. And I don't know if it's an adjustment as they continue with Tom Brady as he gets older, or if it's just something that they have running backs that they can rely on, have running backs that they trust in those situations. But it's something different for the Patriots that people aren't used to and weren't used to getting from them. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see. Because, part of it is some of these teams that they're facing have good defenses and the Patriots typically don't, but also other teams that have another really good offense that don't have a very good defense, like the Chiefs. That's going to be a shootout. That might end up being, but I mean, granted, in December, that's when the Patriots defense starts playing a little bit better. But is that going to be another one of those games that happens like the Rams-Chiefs game of last year where, I mean, it was an absolute shootout to the very end. The defenses weren't great, I guess the defense of the Rams is good, but they didn't play very well in that game. So you never know. That could be really interesting. I really think that Ravens game, like we talked about before, the Ravens season is really contingent on the production of Lamar Miller and the step forward of Lamar Miller, but their defense is absurd. Their defense is so good that that'll be really interesting, especially in Baltimore. In that environment will be really good. The Texans matchup, that's, again, contingent on a lot of trades and things like that. And I really think that, I have confidence that the Eagles are going to win the game against the Patriots, of course. But I think that's going to be another really, really good game. It's the Super Bowl rematch. Well, when isn't that a good game? And, even a couple years ago when the Eagles were not good, they went 7-9 and fired Chip Kelly, towards the end of the season. They still went up to Foxborough and beat the Patriots with Sam Bradford at quarterback. Sammy Sleeves actually did something positive. That's the one fond memory I have of him. But he, now that was the game that Malcolm Jenkins went 100 yards for a pick six. It was spectacular. I remember sitting watching it in my college apartment my junior year. But obviously, no surprise there that the Patriots are going to win that division handedly. No contest. It'll be, when pigs fly, I guess there will be a contest in that division again for who's going to win that title. At least for the next 2 years, it's still going to be the Patriots. I don't see Josh Rosen or Josh Allen or Sam Darnold able to give Tom Brady a run for his money in the next 2-3 years. He might as well keep playing while the division still looks like that. If they can keep an offensive line that's decent, that's really all that matters. And, the other one that we talked about, the matchup there is kind of how we're going to segue into our Eagles conversation today. I really think that the Texans season is kind of wavering in jeopardy right now, and a lot of that has to do with the conversation about Jadeveon Clowney, especially after Lamar Miller went down with a torn ACL. So one of the biggest rumors that's been coming out of the Eagles organization over the last couple days is this conversation about Clowney, that they've talked to the Dolphins, had a trade in place, and Clowney came in and said absolutely not. And his preferred destinations are the Seahawks or the Eagles. I've seen reports of both, that it's Seahawks over Eagles and Eagles over Seahawks. I don't really know which one to believe, but what I do know is they want an offensive lineman, they want a wide receiver, and they want a running back.
We have a few of them.
We have a few of all of those things that I think are possible. The biggest issue is I think there's a big locker room question that they haven't been able to iron out. With Clowney, they don't love him as a locker room guy. They also don't love some of the dirty things that he has done on the field. And that's something that is not taken lightly here, something that we've talked about not being taken lightly. We talked about it last week when we talked about Colin Kaepernick a little bit. They don't like the media attention, and they don't enjoy bringing that here on or off the field. That's not it. It's about the team. It's not about one person. And I think that it's a really interesting conversation. I mean, I think as an Eagles fan, if people say, hey, trade a backup lineman and a receiver on the last year of his contract and one of our expendable running backs for Jadeveon Clowney, I think you're stupid if you're like, no, I don't want Clowney here. You're dumb if you don't want Clowney on the Eagles. You're dumb. If you don't want that talent on the Eagles, you're dumb. Well, I like Nelson Aguilar. I don't really want them to trade him personally. But if they were to say, hey, we'll take Vaitai and Josh Adams and a 4th-round pick.
Yeah,
gift to you.
Look, here's the deal, all right? First, I was listening to Aaron Wilson on the morning show this morning. He covers the Texans for the Houston Chronicle. First, Mark Farzetta asked him a question. He goes, where did things go wrong? And he said it honestly went wrong when Bill O'Brien got the power. Bill O'Brien just doesn't want to pay him, doesn't really like the guy. He said that he does not believe that Jadeveon Clowney's a locker room problem. He says that Jadeveon Clowney's actually a quiet guy. He's not a boisterous, in-your-face type of guy. believes that he could play in any system, as do I. He's a freak of nature. He could play with his hand down. He could play from the linebacker. He can move inside and probably play defensive tackle a little bit. There is zero issue, in my opinion, that should hold the Eagles back from trading for him. Now, I'm not trading Andre Dillard like one person put out there yesterday. But if it's a third-round pick and Vaitai, or if it's a third-round pick and one of the running backs, and even if it's a third-round pick or fourth-round pick, whatever it might be, and Aguilar, I'm doing the deal. Because here's the situation, okay? Right now, we are putting a lot of faith in Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat, Deshaun Hall to make a difference on that opposite side of Brandon Graham. And I'm not saying that Derek Barnett's done by any means. But I tell you one thing, I would not mind if Derek Barnett was backing up Jadeveon Clowney, who is a game changer at the defensive end position, and I think would flourish here. And in my opinion, because Adam Schefter even said it this morning too, it's not going to take as much as you think to get him, because Bill O'Brien really wants to trade him. Well, damn it, you find a package and you put it together and you make it happen. That's where I stand. And to be honest with you, I understand people like Aguilar, but to me, there's not one deal outside of Andre Dillard that I wouldn't do for Jadeveon Clowney, regardless of what happens next season. Regardless.
Yeah, I don't think I was it the person that I was talking to on Twitter last night that you're talking about. Put it out there.
No.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, I was talking to someone who said that it was that the Texans wouldn't do a deal for Dillard.
Yes, they would.
And I was like, well, the Eagles literally jumped the Texans because Dillard was their guy.
Mm-hmm.
So they would absolutely take Dillard in a heartbeat. However, he's not available. And he shouldn't be available.
And exactly.
But I mean, yeah, he's a guy that makes a difference. And people literally don't want him here because they want to be right about saying the Eagles weren't trading for him. Like, people value being right over 9 more sacks. In case people forgot, the reason that we won the Super Bowl is not because our cornerbacks were good.
Mm-hmm.
It's because our defensive line constantly got pressure on the quarterback, and it helped our corners out. That's what we need again.
Yeah.
Because last season, they didn't get a lot of pressure, and they need that.
To me, it's a no-brainer. Now, look, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen or anything. I probably would put the chances at less than 50-50 that it's actually going to happen. But if the Eagles did this, your defense goes from having many, 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 many question marks to being, oh boy, solid. Which, for those of you that don't know, that means you're very, very solid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, listen, I firmly believe Howie Roseman is on the phone. I firmly believe Howie Roseman is finding a way to make this work. I don't think there's as much concern. I know what you're saying about the dirtiness. I don't think there's that. Like, this isn't as much of a Colin Kaepernick situation, and I don't think there's that concern. I'm curious if the holdup is they're saying, well, we want Vaitai, and right now Vaitai is scheduled to start at right guard if Brandon Brooks isn't ready to play week 1. But, you know, Aaron Wilson put out there today, he said, Bill O'Brien loves Notre Dame guys. If you're telling me all it's going to take is a third-round pick and Josh Adams, the deal's already done. I will drive him to Houston, not even to the airport. I'll drive him all the way to Houston.
I will drive him to Houston myself. Hop in my car.
Yeah. I'll even pay for gas, Josh.
We'll gas up the Rav.
I'll pay for gas.
Let's go.
I will make that move.
Because I don't think he's making this team anyway.
No, he's not.
He's not.
He's not. Which I wonder if that's the other thing. If Houston's going, nah, we're not going to do that, thinking, oh, by the way, when they cut him, we'll just sign Josh Adams.
Yeah, but either way,
but what it sounds like, according to Schefter and Aaron, what it sounds like is it's not about what they get back. They don't want Clowney on the team. They just don't want him there.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, they'll take a deal.
So Howie needs to figure
now, look, I think Clowney ends up in Miami. I know that he says he wants to play for a contender, but, I think he ends up in Miami.
But he has so much power because he never signed that tender.
Exactly.
That's the only thing. Oh, yeah, that was a genius move by him. But now apparently I was seeing something that he's not happy with his agent.
He fired his agent.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking, I don't know if I saw that all.
Oh, yeah, you saw it. He fired him. So
not crazy.
I don't know what's going on. But to me, God, I don't care. That would be amazing. Jadeveon Clowney in an Eagles uniform would be. And someone called in today and they brought up a good point. You know the cap hit for Brandon Graham, even though he's got $40 million guaranteed, is like 3.5 this year.
Yeah.
They could do a deal like that with Clowney where he makes a lot of money, but his year-to-year cap hit isn't nearly as big. They could absolutely do something like that. So we'll see. And no, they're not trading Alshon Jeffrey as some people wanted to put out there earlier this week. You dumbasses. I can't. People. But.
Yeah, people are dumb.
Speaking of the wide receiver position, some scary news that isn't as bad as initially
That
reported.
rattled me so quickly.
Deshaun Jackson breaking his non-dominant hand ring finger. Not sure, but it seems like, according to, I'm not a hand doctor, but hearing one talk, it seems like it's a stable fracture, meaning it really won't get worse.
He's seeing a hand specialist today, just to be safe.
And he's getting a custom splint fitted. There have been some reports that he will play in week 1. Josina Anderson reported that she's been told it's a 3 to 4 week injury. And where she may be right that it's a 3 to 4 week injury, there is a thought process that depending on pain tolerance, it's going to take that long to recover, but you can still play through it.
Yeah.
So where we are, we don't know.
Custom splint, glove,
but
fine.
Hey, he doesn't. I don't even want that. He just has to do this when he goes deep.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about this. Just put your hands like this. That won't hurt. You could even take the left ring finger and put it behind like that, and just give him one of these. And just catch the ball, and everything will be fine. But it's amazing. This Jadeveon Clowney thing came at a time where I was a little disappointed in the Eagles' defense on Thursday night against the Baltimore Ravens. I think, look, they had a lot of the starters in there for quite some time, and Trace McSorley picked them the hell apart. I mean, pick them the hell apart. I mean, Sidney Jones, I keep being told how good he's playing. He's getting burnt in the preseason.
He really is, dude.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's not good.
Guys were running wide open.
That is not good.
That scares me. And people were upset with the first team offense. Keep in mind, the receivers played one drive. The offensive line was fine when they were in there.
Yeah.
I'm not too concerned there. And you're still talking about Josh McCown, who had been there for 3 days prior to the game. Made some nice throws in the second half. Nice touchdown throws, including my man J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
I love him.
Love him.
Love him.
I'm really glad that I was wrong when they picked him, and I said, who the hell was that?
Hey, in our defense,
we all said that.
We had a few.
Well, no, that was when they picked Andre Dillard.
That was the next night.
That was the next night. I was totally sober, and I was like, who? Because we all had Paris Campbell in our heads and all these other receivers that were still on the board.
I wanted Nasir Adderley.
Yeah, and you and Nasir Adderley, Mr.
Go Hens!
Okay, Chris, go ahead. You comment on that too, Mr. Go Hens.
Go Hens.
No one ever gets drafted from Towson. I can't ever say go Tigers. Sad.
Nah. Nope. They don't.
But final game. So obviously none of the big guys are going to play. But the question remains, what are we looking for in the? Because I always watch the last preseason game, and there's a couple names that I'll be watching for. One, I think we're both watching for. We've both been rooting for the kid, and that's T.J. Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's going to be very interesting to me because, Jess, I agree with you where he's outplayed the likes of a Nate Jerry, without a doubt in my mind. I just hope that the Eagles make that decision as well. They keep bringing in these other linebackers. It's almost like they're trying not to keep T.J. Edwards. They just released one and brought another one in. I don't know what they're doing there. The other position is obviously the cornerback position because you know a lot of those young guys are going to play again. And notice how everything's on defense. The Josh Sweat, Deshaun Hall battle, that they're both going to probably make the team.
They're both making the team.
Well, unless there was another name someone threw out there. that could push Josh Sweat out.
If they trade for Clowney.
No. There was who the hell else would be the third guy battling for this spot? I don't even remember.
Did you see they released Trey Sullivan?
I did, and brought in another safety.
Yeah,
it's
but
so
that's
weird when that
what
happens.
I'm saying. So Cyprian's going to make the team.
Yeah, so that gives you the Jonathan Cyprien move. And look, it looks like Vitai's going to be here unless he's the guy who gets moved for Clowney. So they'll probably end up keeping 10 offensive linemen. I want to see Dillard. I want to see him continue to improve. You're probably not going to see Jordan Mailata because he's got a little bit of a back issue.
Mm-hmm.
They brought another offensive lineman to kind of play in the game. I am intrigued about the running backs, when it comes to Josh Adams and Smallwood. And I'm not really intrigued by Pumphrey just because I just don't like the guy. And no, it's not to do with Twitter. It's not because I had a Twitter battle with him over LeBron James.
Sure, it's not.
It's not.
It's personal.
It's not. I don't take anything personal with athletes. I'm surprised. I'm happy when athletes are talking to me, so that's cool. So, I mean, there's enough to watch in this game. But I'm not going to lie, Jess. I just want the season to be here. And next week, the 100th episode of The Madness, we will obviously be talking about the NFC East. We're going to try and have some big guests on. We're going to try and have a guest in studio if we can get this person. I'm going to be reaching out, trying to get one of two bigger names that most people know. And once we have them locked in, we will let you know on Twitter at Philly_Madness at RunThisTown13. Yeah. Anything else on the Eagles? I mean, never really.
No really big news from this week. No big dramas or anything like that.
Almost big drama, but none.
Yeah, no. Thankfully none. Say your prayers.
We're good to go.
Yeah.
There's just not that much to talk about right now. I think we're all just ready for it to start, and it will be here. We will come in with our first group of picks next week. Still working on a fantasy expert to have on to kind of tell you who to play, who to sit. I've had 2 drafts. I have 2 more to go.
Mine's next week.
Yours is next week?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Monday.
I was just asked about
my dad was away and was like, no, you got to move that. And I was like, all right, Dad.
I was just asked about another league, and I'm waiting to see how much that costs because I may not have the ability to do that. So with that, we are into the final 20 minutes. Why don't we go to This Madness? Because I got a few written down here.
I didn't write any down, but I have some.
All right. Well, then, as always, Jess, we're going to start with you because you're so wonderful.
So yesterday, I was at home. And what was I doing?
Congratulations.
I was starting to make dinner. So I'm starting to make dinner, and I realized that the light bulb in our fridge is out. And I'm like, that's weird. That's unfortunate. So then I'm like, here's the thing. Sometimes when the bulb goes out, the fridge is not working. It's because the whole fridge is not working. Mm-hmm. That was my first concern. So I'm like, okay, I think it's fine. Well, then I realized, you couldn't hear the fridge. There was no fan going. You couldn't hear it. And I was like,
no bueno.
It kind of feels like the fridge is getting warmer. I'm concerned. Then I, just left it there for a little bit. It kicked on, and I was like, all right, it's fine. I taught dance last night. I came home. I went in the fridge to get some leftovers because I was hungry. The fridge was not working. It was straight up warm in the fridge. All of the Tupperware had condensation on the side, this kind that happens when it's cold and then you take it out and put it in the room temperature room. You open the freezer and you get hit in the face with a bunch of water vapor that just comes at you. So we were like, oh my God. So it's 11:30 at night and we had to drive to the closest gas station to spend $15 on ice and fill up 2 coolers to keep all of our milk, perishable meats, everything that was frozen, ice cream, overnight until the guy could come this morning and fix our fridge. Here's hoping it doesn't break again.
You guys
it was stressful.
Are the real life version, and this movie, it dates me, so it definitely dates you. You're the real life version of apartment style Money Pit. Did you ever see the movie Money Pit? Tom Hanks. There's a movie called Money Pit with Tom Hanks where they buy their dream home. Everything they ever wanted. And then they realize
everything's wrong with it.
Everything's wrong with it. Things break consistently. They're falling through holes in the ceiling. It's like an absolute debacle and disaster. You're living that right now.
It was just really unfortunate. Well, so the water main break, that was just unfortunate. But that was like the entire complex. This is the only problem we've had specifically with our apartment. And it was unfortunate. So the guy came this morning, changed the bulb, made sure it was, working again. But yeah, I was like, this sucks. And I was like, I literally didn't sleep last night because I was stressed about all of our stuff going bad.
I'm sure you were. And then
I was like, because I just went to the grocery store on Sunday. I'm like, oh my God, if all this stuff goes bad and I just spent X amount of dollars at the grocery store,
that'll do it to you.
Be upset.
That'll do it to you. All right. First thing I'm going to talk about is, Jess, you went to Fanatic Fan Fest this past weekend.
I did.
I unfortunately could not make it. I had other things going on, but I've been for a couple other years and have truly, truly loved it. This goes back to your Twitter thing. There are some just jackasses on Twitter who, because it's not necessarily something they like to do, just rip it and rip everyone that's there and everything that's going on. Like, why can't people just, like, it's an awesome event in Philadelphia if you're a sports fan.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's an awesome event. Like, it just drives me nuts the way people, oh, yeah, it's so stupid. Oh, it is a sausage fest. Oh, it is. First of all, 16,000 people just about there.
Yeah, there were a lot of people there.
Were you the only girl, Jess?
No, there were a lot of women.
Oh, was there a lot of? Okay, I'm just curious because, when you hear on Twitter, like, if you don't want to go, if you don't want to partake, if you want to just be a loser that just insults everything, go ahead. But come on, man. Like, just leave it alone. Like, it's a really cool event. Maybe you should try it out. All right, and it seemed to be awesome with Allen Iverson being moved to tears.
AI was there. Tobias Harris was there. Deshaun Jackson was there.
Yeah.
They had a rock wall. They had a speed pitch thing.
Some golf.
They had some golf. They had strippers from Club Risque. They had one of those, like, blow-up things with the big boxing gloves.
So much fun.
That was funny. Rob was like, you want to go in there and rumble? And I was like, if I wasn't wearing a skirt, yes, I would. I would knock you out. But I'm wearing a skirt, so no.
No jumps in the skirt.
Not happening.
No jumps.
I'm trying to think what else. They had a field goal thing set up. Joe almost made it. He didn't, though.
Almost, though.
He had the height and distance. He was just a little bit to the side. Trying to think what else they had there. But it was also just, I mean,
it's a cool hangout event.
But they had, like, Q&As with all the different shows, and they they had other things on. They had analysts from DraftKings there talking about different fantasy stuff. Sal Chunas had Jason Stark there, and they were doing a Q&A with Jason Stark, which was really cool. Yeah. Like, they had a bunch of stuff there, and everyone was just drinking and having a good time. Like, it's an excuse to day drink with a bunch of other Philly sports fans.
Like, how could that be bad?
Like, it's not bad. And then, there was a Nelly concert right after, too. I didn't stay for that.
Oh, Nelly.
I left. I went home and made fried chicken.
Nelly, what has your life become that you're playing it? No offense. I love Xfinity Live, but, like, Nelly was, like, selling out stadiums a few years back.
Yeah, no, I went home and made fried chicken instead.
Yes, I saw that. I was curious how long you stayed, and then I saw that you were home eating fried chicken, and I said, okay, she's home.
We went
it just annoys me that people got to rip an event. Like, if you don't like it, fine. But
yeah, like, what does it matter?
Close your mouth. Like, close your mouth.
Let people live their lives.
Yeah.
Stop being the worst.
Yeah, Jesus. All right, go ahead. You have no more, do you?
I forget what it was. You give me your other one. I'll see if I can remember.
I have a few, so I'll just keep giving them. The VMAs were on Sunday night. Did you know that? That would be the Video Music Awards for MTV.
I didn't watch them.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because they don't even show music videos anymore on MTV.
I also don't know who half the people that were there or won were. Because music sucks now, dude.
Look, there might have been, it seemed like there was a couple cool performances. It looked like Missy Elliott, I actually rewatched her performance. Awesome.
Yeah, she was good.
She was fantastic. Like, it was cool to see her. The little girl used to dance in her videos as like an adult, and she was there. Like, it was really
Allison
cool.
Stoner. She used to be on Disney Channel.
Yeah,
she was in like all the Camp Rock movies. Like, I saw her perform live.
She was also in the Step Up movies. People don't realize that.
Yeah, but that was the later ones. After the first one, they're kind of irrelevant. But
Step Up 2 to the Streets, not irrelevant.
Okay, but
there was Step Up 3. It was good.
So when the Jonas Brothers' last tour was the whole Camp Rock tour too. So the Camp Rock stuff kind of opened for it, and then the Jonas Brothers came out and did their thing, and they had several segments dedicated to like just her dancing. She's so good.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
So, but like that award show means not, and I'm going to tie in another one to this, and I know that I'm going to be attacked by
Oh, boy.
a lot of female fans of ours might attack me for what I'm about to say because I know
Awesome. I might start it.
this is a sensitive topic to many people. The fakest female in music, the girl I hate more than anyone else,
Oh, boy. I'm going to hate you soon. I can just tell.
is Taylor Swift.
Oh, no. She's the worst. I can't stand her.
And she just tries to get the camera on her dancing. She's such a joke. She's a joke.
Yeah, no, she's the worst. I can't stand her.
I hate her. Yeah, you can't, but there's going to be a female out there that is going to attack me
That's fine. I'll let her.
for this. Thanks, Jess. Thanks for having my back. One time, Jess, one time. But yeah, it's so stupid. You don't even show music videos. I don't even know why people make music videos anymore. I guess just for YouTube.
Yeah.
I guess they just put them on YouTube now. I don't really know. That's just so stupid. It makes me so mad that was even a show.
Yeah, I mean, the last one I watched was when Miley Cyrus twerked on Robin Thicke. That was the last VMAs I watched.
Now, she
honestly.
apparently had a very nice performance, like where she wasn't twerking on anyone. She was just singing a song.
Yeah, it's her new song. Her new song's really good, actually.
Poor thing, her and Hemsworth are no longer. Sad. You know, we could talk a little pop culture on this show. You know, I'm kind of tuned in. No? All right. Throwing it out there. I know my stuff. Just saying.
I wasn't ready for that.
All right.
I just wasn't ready for that. I'm kind of tuned in.
I am tuned in. I was watching Good Morning. I know that you think, because I'm a guy, I'm not tuned in.
No,
to the
I
pop
don't think
culture.
that at all. It's just the
You
way
do.
you said it
You
was
are
funny.
reverse discriminating against me.
No, I'm not.
Did you think of yours yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell sucks.
Can
And
we
Team
go?
USA lost for the first time in
Go Aussies.
78 games
All C's.
because their captains are Marcus Smart, Kemba Walker, and Donovan Mitchell. The team is the Boston Celtics and a glorified sixth man.
You go too far with he's better than a sixth man. He's a
gonna
starter
be
in the league.
So irrelevant with their team
I
this
know,
year.
but he's a starter
Oh,
in this
he's gonna be
league.
so irrelevant
Stop
with their
the
team this
glorified
year.
sixth man. He's a
He's
starter.
about as efficient as Russell Westbrook.
And Russell Westbrook starts.
and it's brutal. Have you seen how well he's done
But I'm
over the
just
last
saying,
couple of years?
you cannot like him, but he's more than a sixth man. Come on.
I disagree. I honestly disagree.
I know you do.
And it's not even just because I hate him. I honestly disagree. But additionally, not one of these people, aside from maybe Kemba, is going to be on the actual Olympic team.
Oh, I agree with that.
Where are the Olympics this year? Next year? Oh, this coming summer, a year from now?
Good question.
I forget where they are. Crap. Japan?
I don't know.
Did I spell Olympics wrong? I did.
OLYMPICS?
Oh yeah, Tokyo.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Not one of them, not any of you, aside from Kemba, are going to be invited to Tokyo. Thank you.
Unless nobody goes again.
Unless nobody goes again, but I doubt that's going to happen for the actual Olympics.
We'll see. We shall see. Here's one. So we signed the girls up for their first ever sport.
Uh-huh.
Girls are going to play soccer. Kind of me and the wife sat down and decided we were either going to do dance or soccer. Soccer was Saturday mornings, where dance was like Tuesday nights at like 6:40. And for girls their age, and it was 20 minutes from the house, we'd rather do a Saturday morning where we just go, they play a little bit, and move on. So the first thing I had to do was the girls were born in 2015. But the U4, which is being born in 2016, was 1 day a week. The U5, which would have been 2015, would have been 3 nights a week. Now, my daughters have never played anything.
Yeah.
And I emailed the guy, and be very nice, and he allowed me, because they were born, they turned 4 in July. It's not like they've been 4 a full year.
Yeah.
They just turned 4. He allowed me to sign up for the younger one, because I said my daughters aren't ready for 3 years. So signs up. So we get an email, and initially we thought that they'd be playing with friends of ours whose son's going to be playing in that league. And we were all excited. Oh, this will be cool. They'll play together and this and that. Do you know they separated it by gender, and there's a boys' hour and a girls' hour?
Really?
At that age?
At that age, we were all
They all got to play together.
Yeah, we were all together at that age.
And to me,
T-ball too.
yeah, I'm not happy about it. I want the girls to play with some boys too. I want them to. Because one of the battles I find with the girls is if I say I want to do something, they tend to say, Dad, well, such and such is just for boys. And my answer is always, no, it isn't. If you want to play, you can play, especially at this age. Like, all right, if you're 13, 14, and you tell me you want to go play baseball, I might say, hey, let's play softball. You know what I mean? Just because it's there. It's there.
Right.
It's already made for you. But to separate them, boys and girls, at 4 years old in soccer, that upsets me. I wanted both.
Yeah.
I wanted it commingled.
I remember when I was little, it was literally all of the neighborhood kids on a team.
Yeah.
And we all played, and our dads were the coaches, and it was a grand old time. Granted,
I could not coach it. I'll tell you that.
Useless.
I'll lose my damn mind.
I was useless. I was the one that was like
Well,
picking flowers off to the side. That was me. It's fine.
I'm kind of trying to figure out,
I looked super cute though.
out of my two daughters, which one is going to be, if any, which one will be like engaged, and which one will be like, all right, I'm bored with this. I want to come stand with you and eat orange slices and drink water. So I'm very intrigued. It starts in a couple weeks.
I always wanted to be out there, but I was playing. At one time, I scored my first goal. I scored on the wrong goal. I was 4, and my parents didn't have.
She's lying. This happened last year in an indoor soccer game.
I was so excited, and my parents didn't have the heart to tell me. They didn't tell me until like 10 years later that it was the wrong goal.
See, it's wrong. I would have told them. I'm telling them right away. Listen, next time you better go to hell down that way.
No,
that's not the right goal.
Because I literally scored the goal and like sprinted off the field into my dad's arms. I was so excited.
Yeah.
They didn't have the heart to tell me.
I would have told you.
He broke my heart a couple years after, and now brings it up all of the time.
I think what might happen is Ella's a little bit taller, which means she got a little longer stride. And we were at the Chuck E. Cheese the other week. By the way, I haven't been there forever. Really cleaned it up. Very impressed. And then she was playing a soccer game, and she was wailing the ball in the soccer game. So
fantastic.
She might be my soccer player. The other one, I think, is going to be a softball player because she swings the bat so hard.
There you go.
So I'm personally excited, and I got to get him into tennis and golf because that's where the scholarships are, Jess. I'm doing some research. That's where the scholarships are. I'm trying to find all this stuff out now. My last one. No, I'm done.
Okay. Me too.
That ends it for me. We've done a 2-hour show here, so we can end the show here. It was a good one, Jess, but next week, 100 episodes.
100 episodes.
We're going to party. We're going to hopefully have an in-studio guest. We're trying to get a couple more on the phone. Talk to Eagles, NFC East, the night before the season.
Some fun announcements coming next week.
Fun announcements coming next week of all kinds. Okay, we're trying
Big one coming.
We told you 2019 was going to be the year of the madness, the year of us. We're going to try and continue that with the announcements made next week. So tune in. We appreciate all of you. Embrace the madness. Have a great week. See you for number 100.
Twisting thread ends of the rope in a suicidal fantasy. I was going to extreme.